Yeah, 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 we gon' vote for him. Yeah, 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 we gon' vote Chupi. Yeah, and we gon' vote for him. Yeah. All the hard work he has done for us, a true leader for the people. Always fighting for our rights, and all the passing up so much love. Kept government up for 4 years strong, something that wasn't done for so long. Rolando Bryson's the new way up, and we are sure that he'll hold us down. Now is our time, cause we're still going up. Rolando Bryson representing we, is standing up for this country. So that's why we gon' vote UP. Now is our time, cause we're still going up. Rolando Bryson representing we, is standing up for this country. I know we going up, yeah, yeah, cause we the top. Rolando Bryson's the new way up. If you be party for us, yeah, we going up, yeah, yeah, cause we the top. Rolando Bryson's the new way up. If you be party for us, if you be party.
St. Martin, we probably go far, and we know, search for a sign of a change. A Chino, you know it got days when you feel like a zero. I woke up this morning, but felt like Mark Mingo. Tomorrow be a better day. Respect is the key, education gon' matter, so don't you try to run away. St. Martin, the place where the food is good, the people is good, the music is good. We living like we on a road. You're trying to take us down, but I'm thinking cause they really don't. Misunderstood. Oh Lord, help us protect ourselves, help us look in ourselves. We're searching for what they call the fire that's in ourselves. I just want to see the best from my motherland. I just want the whole world here to understand that we came from the bottom of the sewer, now we heading way up, high up unto Wonderland. Opportunity is yours, so make it happen. Take an action.
Carl & Sons has delicious food to fit your lifestyle and go easy on your pockets. Carl & Sons, your #1 spot for breads, pastries, cakes, sandwiches, breakfast, and lunch. Check out Carl & Sons today on Pondville and in Coal Bay.
Honorable Mr. Sidharth.
Vote for the green, vote Akeem. Vote for the green, vote Akeem. Vote for the green, vote Akeem.
People has been a part of me and voted on my lead. A man of action and integrity, yes. Number 2, a united people party.
And this is something that we look forward to do.
At SXM, we're taking travel and tourism to new heights. Here we boast spacious check-in areas, 10 passport control points, comfortable departure lounges, and an exciting new airport mall. Finally, there's an airport in the Caribbean that takes your travel plans as seriously as you do. Princess Juliana International Airport. The experience will move you.
Late Night Show with Andrew Dick special edition, because this is the first time in history that I was invited into a statesman's home right here in lovely St. Martin. I should say the Member of Parliament and also politician, former leader of the National Alliance, SPA. I mean, we're going to delve into a special 1 hour with the one, the only, Mr. William Malling. Good day to you, sir.
Good afternoon to you, Andrew. And
it's late night, so we are night.
you said good day.
Good day.
You say good day.
I say good day. Thank you so much for allowing us into your home. I think that is very commendable after, the late night has been making fun of you for so much years.
You
And
did?
yeah, and you never notice. So for you to, open your doors is goes to show you what a great man you are.
Well, you'll never know. The show is not yet over. And after the show, you never know what can happen. Maybe it's time for revenge. Maybe it's time to set the record straight. And
Yeah.
maybe it's time to let the present generation
Yes.
know things that have happened or things that did not happen and why certain things have happened.
And the way it is.
I've been around politics for the last 45 years. December 15th made it exactly 45 years since we founded the SPM. At the time, we were a group of young men and women. I was one of the younger ones. There were some older than I was. We had Richard Gibson, who was actually the political brain behind starting the SPM.
Oh.
Then we had Vance James, who was handpicked to be the new leader of the SPM. And then we also had businessman Vincent Donshaw, who was at the time, one of the eldest and probably the eldest founding member of the party. We had brother of Frankie Myers, Charlie Myers.
Oh, yeah.
He was one of the founding members. Businessman Leo Friday. He was the president of the party. I was the secretary of the party. You had Elton Jones, who was the youngest candidate at the time, and you had Claudette LaBega, who was one of the candidates as well. And you had the father of Mr. Washington, who's now the interim director of GB, Alfonso, better known as Darky Washington, who lives there on the 80th, not 80th Road, yes, 80th Road.
Yeah, 80th Road.
He was one of the founding
really?
members as well. And then you have the late businessman Ben Vlon of Caribbean Lumber, the brother of Charlie Vlon of former Toyota agency.
Yeah.
He too was one of the members. And I, off the top of my head,
Yeah.
those were some of the
stalwarts that
who
started.
the party. And in a historic move, we wrestled 2 of the 5 seats away from the leader of the Democratic Party, who in the election before that, in 1975, because our election, the first election was in May 79, but we founded the party in December 15th, 78, to prepare for the election of 79. And in those days, you had 5 seats in the Island Council, and in the election of 1975, the Democratic Party had won all 5 seats.
Oh, wow.
So you had 4 years of no opposition whatsoever. And I can remember one of the budget meetings in which the commissioners, the chairman opened the meeting, and the late Claude Watty was the only speaker, and he said, "Mr. Chairman, I want to commend the Executive Council for presenting a balanced budget. Mr. Chairman, it meets the needs and the aspirations of our people, and I move that we adopt this budget unanimously." There were no other speakers. Budget was adopted, bang, unanimously. Nobody knew whether the budget, even if you had no opposition, there was no presentation of the budget saying it's 10 million, 20 million, 5 million, 100 million, and so much for education, so much for social affairs,
Yeah, for tourism,
so much
whatever.
for tourism marketing, nothing whatsoever. And we ran a vicious campaign, a well-oiled campaign, I must say.
And was that the time that you went from being a teacher to then the politician? Was that your first time or no?
No,
The transition, I wanted to know what made William Allen say, you know what, enough is enough. I gotta run for politics.
No, initially I was approached by the late Jose Lake Senior, the original Jose Lake Senior, not Jose Lake Junior Lake.
Junior, yeah, no,
because that's why he's referred to as Jose Lake Junior.
Yeah.
His father, Jose Lake Senior, asked me one time to run with him. I was young and basically had no interest in politics in the sense of seeing a political career for me.
Okay.
I was a teacher. I was very much into education. I became president of the Teachers Union at a very young age. And I was busy making innovations in education and basically doing things in sports. I was an avid sportsman, and
oh yeah, what kind of sports?
I played volleyball, I played football, I played softball. I was president of the Teachers Union, president of the Baseball Federation, was president of the Volleyball Federation and Antillean Federation. I was national coach for St. Martin. Together with Elaine Gomes-Vlond, we were the first two St. Martiners to attend an international volleyball referees course for our international accreditation.
Wow.
Then I was on the NORCECA Sports Organizing Committee for the region. And as such, I made a proposal to create another confederation of NORCECA, which was, because NORCECA is the North Central and Caribbean Federation for volleyball. And I proposed a sub-federation for the Caribbean islands, because we were part of North Central American Caribbean.
Yeah.
But the smaller Caribbean islands, and then when I say smaller, from Trinidad and Barbados up to Jamaica and in between, none of us would ever qualify for the NORCECA finals, for the NORCECA championships, because in the Caribbean, you had giants such as Cuba, Puerto Rico, and there were some other islands. But between those two, because it's only, I think, the champion from the Caribbean, two teams from the Caribbean would go to the NORCECA finals. And in NORCECA, you had in the North America, you had Canada, that's what it is. North America, you had Canada and the USA. Central America, you had Mexico. Then you had in the Caribbean, Cuba and Puerto Rico. The only team in the region that gave a little bit of competition was Curacao at the time.
Okay.
So we made the
another section of the
sub-federation, and I was one of the founding members of it, the Caribbean Volleyball Federation. So I was big in sports, and I had Champions Sports magazine that you may or may not heard of, and we published a weekly sports magazine, and every year, end of the year, we had the Champion Sports Review, which covered all the sporting events. In those days, there was little sporting events happening on the French side. you had football, and you had cycling that was big, and then we had Jean-Henri, I think his name was, which was the runner. He was a marathon runner, and he was great. He even went to Curacao and won the marathon there, and we exported him as one of our runners. But I covered sports on both sides of the island.
You covered education also?
Boxing was great. Education, I became principal of a school also at a very young age, and I had introduced the first school magazine for a school. I introduced the first uniforms, believe it or not. All schools, children went to school, let's say the way you are dressed. Yes. And I was the principal who spearheaded introducing uniforms. And I can remember having a serious battle with one of my good friends and a supporter, went on to be a supporter for years, when, because for reasons, you know, I believe that if you know better, do better.
Yeah.
And for the warm climate that we are in hot classrooms, to have children coming to school, little children in a long pants, their legs are completely covered, sometimes in a jean pants, and they're sitting in a hot classroom all day. They're running during recess. They're getting all sweaty, and then you got to continue classes until 1:45. So in introducing uniforms, I said children of grade 1 and 2, they wear short pants, the boys, and of course the girls were wearing skirts.
Yeah.
We held a teachers' parents meeting with the teachers, with the parents, to explain to them why we were introducing uniforms, because it brought a sense of uniformity. Of course, if you want to put it, the sloppy children would wear their clothes looking sloppily.
Yeah.
Okay? But it took away the difference in income level of the parents. All children looked alike. No child.
This for all the schools or only your particular school?
Our school introduced it.
And which school was that?
And Leonard Connor School in Pole Bay.
Okay.
And I had, as I said, a serious battle with a parent. Because no, my son is not wearing no short pants. He never wore short pants, and I can afford to buy out long pants. And I explained to her, I said, ma'am, it has nothing to do with affordability. It has nothing to do with your son don't wear no short pants. When you're taking him to church, dress him in whatever you want to. In the afternoon, if you're taking him to town, but in school, for the child's own proper health, we are allowing his bones, his body to be exposed to sunlight.
Yeah.
And when they run around during recess time, they won't be sitting in a sweaty long pants at that tender age. Eventually, she went along, but her two sons were like dude boys.
Yeah.
Because she made sure keep them, clean and tidy.
Neat.
One of the things that we did also was, instead of outsourcing the uniforms to a business, where like today, there's a business who's selling uniforms for this school or for all schools. No business is going to import uniforms, whether they have them made in China, Japan, or right here. The person who makes them is selling them with a profit, and the business who sells them is selling them with a profit. So for you to buy 5 sets of uniforms, let's say for one child, you have to pay much more. So what we did, I personally used to go to Puerto Rico, buy the uniforms there.
Okay.
And usually I got them on sale. And because you're buying bulk, you also get a special price. And whatever I paid for the uniforms was passed on to the parents.
Oh.
So it was affordable. So let's say if I bought a set of uniforms for $10. We sold it to the parents for $10. There was no profit in it. And eventually, another school followed.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. How was this? Yeah.
And another school followed.
Wow.
And eventually, all the schools
Got their own
had uniforms.
So it wasn't a government initiative?
No, it was an initiative of William Marlin.
Wow.
What we also did, my school introduced, graduation for the children.
Did they have no graduation?
No, it didn't used to have any graduation, no graduation ceremonies.
Oh, yeah?
And then what I did, I was like dean of the public schools, and I brought all the public schools together, and we had one public schools graduation at Celebration Palace. We had it another time at Great Bay Hotel, where all the children from public schools came. And ironically, back in the days while we were public schools, we invited the Commissioner of Education and never came.
And never came?
No. The Commissioner of Education wouldn't come, but would go to graduation of the parochial schools. But we as public schools didn't have the honor of having our Minister of Education, our Commissioner of Education present, for those graduations. And I'm saying maybe if you had it 10 times, maybe once, but definitely it was not a permanent fixture.
Consistently.
Another big thing that we used to do back then was the public school sports day. So I brought all the public schools together. We were not, we didn't have the beautiful Raul Illich as it is today.
Yeah.
That feel always existed, but the way it is, that too was a work that I got to put in the race, the running track, and those kind of things. That too is something that I spearheaded at the time. But we used to go there every year with all the public schools, and we would compete. And out of that, we had great runners. The other day I saw a young man from Coal Bay, who from our school, who was not a speedster. He never ran the 100-meter dash. But when it came to endurance, that guy would take off with one pace, and he would go around in one pace. And if it was 20 miles an hour, he didn't give up. It was some 20 laps, I think we used to run, and he would drop everybody and run. And finally, one of the other things that I was involved in, I can go down the line, was the Children's Song Festival. Together with my sister Mavis Brooks, the late Mavis Brooks, we established the St. Martin Child Song Festival Committee, and the voice trainer was Anastasia Lamoni. She was a music teacher and voice trainer.
Lamoni. Yes.
And Anastasia trained all the children. So once you are representing your school, and it was like 10, 12 schools in those days, or 15 schools, I can't remember, but all the schools had to send 2 children, and the 2 children, regardless to who they were, Anastasia would give them free voice training and prepare them equally, give them things. And again, equality was important for us here too. So what we did, we, the committee, bought suits for the boys, bought their shoes, bought their shirt and their tie, and the girls, they were able to have the same kind of dress. So again, equality was important, and all the boys, all the girls, all the boys were dressed alike, all the girls were dressed alike. It wasn't a matter of, oh, my parents can afford a long gown, or my parents can afford a bling bling.
Everybody was
equal. And the first winner of the Child Song Festival was the late Joshua Bell, who used to work for government and had this,
the civil servant,
you know, fabulous voice.
Yes.
And
so this is when you.
That's when I was.
This wasn't without politics. This is just community activist.
That was when I was involved in sports, education, culture, community.
You was doing it all over.
All of that. That was William Allen. That was my life.
So then you was approached now.
Then I was approached by Jose Lake Sr. I told him no interest. Then I was approached by the man from Night Rap, what his name is, Mr. Priest.
Oh.
Mr. Speaker.
Yeah.
But that's long before your time. He too approached me, and I said, no, I was not interested. Marvin Scott approached me also. I think it was for the 1975 election. Marvin Scott was the leader of the WIPM. And then the WIPM has dwindled and become basically a one-man party. And I can remember the conversation vividly. He said, listen, why don't you head a list? He said, for me, it is not about me. He says, we need to continue opposing the Democratic Party. We can't leave opposition just fall on the roadside. I used to vote for him. I voted for him. But he said, you can head the list. I said, well, I am not prepared for no election. I didn't know anything about, you know, let's say the political arena.
Yeah.
And I was into education, sports, culture, and community activities. So I told him, no, I'll vote for you. I'll support you. If you want, I'll encourage other people. And
I'll campaign even.
Campaign for you, but I'm not on the list.
Okay.
Then in 1978, I got a visit from two good buddies, Richard Gibson, Sr., and Leo Friday, Sr. as well. And they said, we need to talk to you.
And you knew what it was already?
No, because none of the two were involved in politics.
Okay.
And I'm thinking, oh my, did I do something bad? So they said, listen, we are starting a political party to challenge the Democratic Party, and we want you on board. He said, me? He said, yes, you have all the ingredients.
Yeah.
You're a smart guy. You work hard. You're big in education. You're big in sports. We need somebody like you. I said, well, okay. At that time, you were further into your personal development and being involved in things. I said, okay. And we did.
And you did.
We launched the party.
And you what number were you on that party?
I was number 5. Now, here is a secret. It's a public secret. Only the people who were around know.
Wait. Before you tell me the secret, let's take a break. When we come back, more with Mr. William Allen.
It's time to promote, so come out and vote. We not waste no time, we not make no joke. We voted for you, RSM, Julian Rolex Jr. Candidate number 9, hard time, but he come to shine.
Rafita is a woman of integrity, and she believes in what is best for the country. Facing the issue, she will do it carefully. Rafita is who we need, experience guaranteed. Rafita, already. Rafita.
Number 6.
On you wanna stand.
It's time to raise the bar, let's take it to the top. It's time to choose qualified people to rep for ya. From the prisoners to senior, she's right here for ya. Can't forget the education, it's time for better. She's ready and she's focused to get the job done. SXM, the time is now, let us all vote for change. Shamira is the candidate to represent for us. She's gonna represent us locally and even to the Dutch.
St. Martin. You see the strength he have? We need that. You see that little melee? They go keep that. Still voting NA, brother. We need to vote to run back in office. Why? It's hard for we, it's plain to see. We need to vote to run back in office. Why? They can't deny he leads with pride. And I don't mean to be boasty, but I'm walking for way. Together as one, we can get the job done. Doran walking for way. Number 2 and anybody, for sure we solid with heat.
They can't keep a good man down. Always keep a smile when they want me to frown.
Yo! Be the first.
Late Night Show Special Edition. No, MP Marlin, you was just about to tell us a secret.
In 1979 rather. So we started a party in 1978, and together with Leo Friday, we started attending certain events. And I can remember one of the events was a minister coming from Holland, and they had a reception down at Mullet Bay. And we were there as representatives of this new political party. And, you know, the campaign trail, you're going in the hotels, in the casinos, meeting the people, talking to them about...
Was it a lot of resistance back in those days for new parties?
Oh, yes.
Because I know everything was DP.
You couldn't oppose Claude Watty.
Exactly.
That's how Leo Friday and his family had to move to the USA.
Oh, yeah?
Because the victimization, because their mother was an outstanding opponent to Claude Watty, so to speak, outspoken, and you get blackballed. You can't get jobs, you can't get anything. In those days, you couldn't get study financing. It was not regulated. So you get study financing based on your political color. You could be the best graduate at high school, and because you're not voting for the red
or your
machine,
family or your family is not
if your family is not supportive of, you don't get
it.
And so it went on. So that's why there are certain families who back in the day got like 20-30 pieces of land, certain families who got jobs in government but others not, etc. But back to it. So
number 5,
I was offered number 5, and I laugh myself when I think of it.
Why?
Not laugh.
Because it's your first time.
It's my first time I was running. I was one of the younger guys in the party, but I could not understand why certain people were placed on the list higher than I was. It was because...
Even when this was your first time, though?
All of us was our first time.
Oh.
Okay? All of us was our first time.
Okay.
But because you didn't know anything about the dynamics of politics.
Correct.
How to put a list together.
Yes.
That you need...
It's a learning curve.
You need business people. You need people from Simpson Bay.
Yeah.
You need people from this area.
Yeah.
You need educated people. You need.
Yeah.
So here you were, a young, educated guy, principal of a school.
And you're number 5.
President of volleyball, president of this, involved here, involved there. And it was like, no. But also because I was not prepared. Okay, I was not prepared. I felt uncomfortable.
Oh, okay.
And on the night before handing in the list, so postulation day was on a Friday. The night,
The Thursday.
the Thursday, the list was announced.
Yeah.
And that's when I said, no, I'm not running. And everybody was like, huh? And that's how Leo Friday ran and never wanted to run really. Leo Friday then ran, and Elton Jones had moved up to number 5. But I campaigned
for the party.
Elaine Gomes-Vlon was one of the candidates. She was a good friend of mine also. So I campaigned for her. I spoke at every public meeting, and it happened because Claude Watty attacked
the opposite. Well,
attacked her.
The new.
Attacked her candidacy. And spoke about her because she was a respected person in the community.
Yeah.
She was a social worker who was working, I think at the time, was head, I think, of Volksdeirat. I can't remember if she had already became head of social affairs in government. But at any rate,
she was being attacked, and you was protecting.
And I came to her defense.
So you was more like a campaign manager?
And I became like her campaign manager, but I was also the MC for the for the SPM at all their political rallies, and I was one of their main speakers because the speakers didn't have any experience and were not experienced speakers.
Yeah.
And being a teacher who blabbers all day, I could have talked from morning till night, and I have never dropped the habit.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, because the others were not speaking long enough, you had to fill the time. I can remember there were times because we had central government elections as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
In which we were crushed every time because it was only one seat.
Yeah, it was automatic.
And back in those days, we had central government elections also. And you had St. Martin had one seat allotted to the Windward Islands, actually, not to St. Martin.
Yeah.
One seat for Sabre Station and St. Martin. And you would compete in those days also. You had, let's say, a joint party. The DP would enter a party on Sabre Station and St. Martin. The Whipham had also done so in the past. SPM, we were competing in the Windward Islands, but we had nobody from Sabre and Station on our list in terms of a representative from.
Yeah.
And I remember going one year to Sabre, and we had a little meet and greet before the people would come and have their drinks. I can't remember whether it was at Captain's Quarter, but at any rate, we were speaking like from a balcony, and the voters were out in the road. That was when Will Johnson was protesting against the one seat, and they were boycotting an election. So to put pressure on the central government to give them their own representative. And I remember the late Arnold Brown, who just passed away not too long ago. Arnold Brown was the MC for the party. And the list was Vance James, the late Vance James Jr., Elaine Gums-Vlon, Edgar Lynch, Jas Brian LaBega, Dimar Great Aunt, Erna LaBega's aunt, and William Allen. I placed myself number 5 on the list. And we went to Sabre to campaign. And while in Sabre, so the meeting starting, and I'm standing there and looking down at the people, and I was asked to lead off because they needed to have a speaker that can grab the attention of the people.
You're going, yes, exactly.
And because the others were very short, they would speak for 5 minutes.
Yeah, and then they will finish, yeah.
So you're going to travel all the way to Sabre for half an hour meeting.
No.
It's like, oh my gosh. So I got to keep them busy, one. But what the devil do I tell somebody who I don't know them, they don't know
you,
me,
yeah. But they should vote for you.
But they should vote.
Yeah.
And their strong political leader in the country is telling them,
don't vote.
Don't vote.
Yeah.
So I stood there after Arnold Brown introduced me, and I cleared my throat. And I said, good evening. And I cleared my throat. And it's like, what am I going to say? Because I don't write speeches. You know, I
just go based on the...
I prepare,
yeah,
and I would make notes and say, I'm going to speak about traffic, I'm going to speak about this, but they are St. Martin issues. What am I going to speak in Sabre about?
That would relate to them.
And this young man, if he's listening, maybe to this interview, might be somebody my age now or older, I don't know. I've never shook his hands, I've never gotten close to him. But he said, out of the crowd, well, who the hell he is? And that was my cue.
And you was like, okay, you're going to tell him.
I said, you are right. You are right to ask who the hell I am. And for the same reason, I can also say, who are you? I said, but what we have in common. And I went from there and rallied the crowd for over an hour.
Wow.
And my longest speech in Parliament was 8 hours.
It was 8 hours. It was
8 hours.
8 and 20. I remember I was there. I was very upset.
8.5.
Yes.
But it was deliberately done.
Yeah, I know. The good days of the opposition.
Anyway, so, you know, that is how that campaign went. But again, to come back, I never ran in the election of 1979.
Yeah.
And a lot of people would say, well, he ran in 79, but I didn't.
No.
I was on the list. I was featured as a candidate. I was announced that I would be a candidate.
But the last minute you pulled out.
Postulation day, I pulled out. But I have been on every slate ever since. And then I worked my way up. And at a given moment, I became the number 2 candidate. And I always said, if they ever make a mistake and put me in the Island Council, they will never get me out.
Oh, yeah? You said that?
Yes. So said, so done. I got in and I never got out. Parliament came, I got in and never get out. And now I have decided in 2020 that it was...
They're going to be the last one.
Time to say goodbye. I had already turned over the leadership.
And then you did a smooth transition. I must say, I must commend you for that, because normally, you know, people said, you know, it wasn't done abruptly. You did it in stages. And even though they had snap elections, you didn't even falter. You just kept on, because you could have just come back and go, you know what, snap elections still happening. You know, the country is still in disarray. Let me stay as leader. But you actually took a step back and you said, and I remember this speech very well. You said, you know what? You'll put yourself on 23, as a 23 for the first time in years. And if the people want you, they're going to look for you and they're going to put you back.
Yes, there were 2 things I used in that campaign. I said, no matter how you turn this list, it is strong at the top, it is strong at the bottom.
Yeah.
We have a solid foundation, and I have decided to use my strength and my experience to carry the weight for the party. And to those out there who think that William has to go, I am asking my supporters, if you don't agree with them, show them that you can take me from 23, from at the bottom, and
put
bring
you
me
back
back
in.
up.
Yeah.
Which they did.
Yeah.
But then, you know, I decided also at a given moment, let me move on. I was, you know, it's not like people would say, well, he's an old man. But if you have been around the political arena for that long,
yeah,
it was not the intention to fold up politics and say, I'm done with it. Okay? It was always my intention to be an advisor to the party, one of the you know, the people the party can go to.
Yeah.
But it turned out that most of the young people want to do their own thing.
Yeah.
And I was...
I'm sure it was the same way back then, eh?
No, the difference was, that we had nobody to go to. Okay?
So you had to figure it out yourself. You had to figure out yourself.
As opposition...
We didn't have no phones to check Google.
As opposition...
Okay, so...
As opposition, we had nobody to turn to.
Yeah.
Okay? We were a bundle of young people.
And you had to figure it out.
Started a political party, and you had to figure it out. Like I say, I knew nothing about campaigning, and I just felt that, hey, I'm popular in volleyball, so everybody in volleyball will vote for me.
Yeah.
I'm popular in baseball and football, everybody's going to vote for me. I have my own sports magazine, so sports people are going to vote for me.
Yeah.
I am a teacher, principal of a school, colleagues and people in education and parents will vote for me. But what you learn the hard way is that you got to ask people for their vote. But I have never done it. I have never done it. Not because I thought it was beneath me to do, but I felt and feel that by being available and showcasing who I am and what I can do.
Yeah, the capabilities.
That if you want to vote for me, you will.
Yeah.
And I tell people sometimes, listen, you don't need to vote for me. You don't have to. If you don't want to vote for me, don't vote for me. It's fine. But I've also not victimized people who did not vote for me. There are people who I found when I became commissioner who were in the so-called twilight zone.
Yeah.
If you didn't do what Claude Wattie and his administration wanted you to do, if you didn't do their bidding, they just sideline you. And
was there ever a politician or a person in charge from the young William Marlin that you were intimidated, or you were a bit, you know, scared to go up against as far as capabilities? So
none.
Speaking, no.
None.
You never faltered.
No.
Okay.
You know, one of the greatest things in my political era, climbing the ladder, was to take on the great and mighty Claude Wattie.
Yeah.
It was like what you name?
David and Goliath.
David and Goliath cutting down a tree with a little axe.
I could imagine.
And one of the things that I did when I got into the Island Council, because it was Vance and Vincent Duncher, then it was Vance and Elaine Vlon, then it came Vance and William Marlin. So 8 years I ran before I got elected. Well, it wasn't 8 consecutive years.
Yeah,
Elections were every 4 years.
Yeah.
But we have candidates who they run in 2010 with this party, in 2014 with that party, in 2018 with that party.
Yeah.
we have political leaders today
Same thing, yeah.
who have run with 3
to 4
different 4 parties probably. They ran 3 times, each time with a different party. Some ran 4 times with 4 different parties because you travel around. And it is clear that it is not about the people because you are in search of you.
You, yeah.
You want to accomplish something. You want to be something.
Yeah.
You want to be somebody. And for me, I was somebody. I was principal of a school. I was, in volleyball. I was here. I was there. I got gratification and satisfaction
So you don't have to prove.
in the things that I do.
Yeah, you don't have to prove something to anybody.
In those days, there was no salary that would make anybody say, wow, as a principal of a school, I made more money than a commissioner.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So it was, and I can remember when I was becoming commissioner the first time in 1991, I told Vance, I said, Vance, they will have to do something about this salary, and I don't want no allowances.
Yeah, because it's
Because I don't want no car allowance. Because if you see me driving my Toyota Corolla, and then you're going to say, oh, you're getting a car allowance, look what he's driving. I don't want you to give me no maid allowance, because then you're going to come and say, how come he doesn't have a maid, but he has an allowance? And you can go down the line, and a rent allowance or a house allowance. I build my own house. I don't want no allowance for it.
So you really come in and really shake up the whole system, though, of the way of doing things.
So where the shake-up came, when I got elected and Vance and I were just 2 people in opposition against this voting power.
Yeah.
I told Vance, I said, Vance, we have to start dismantling the government. He said, but we can't present anything because they're going to vote against everything anyway. I said, that's the key. I said, if we get them to vote along, then we can say we made them do it. And if we present something that is good for the people and they vote against it,
people will see
then we can go and tell the people, you see,
look what they do.
We wanted to do this and they vote against. And I masterminded a series of meetings. And all of it was, what is the policy? The people have a right to know. Let the people know. So we had a meeting, for instance, on what's your policy on study financing? There was none.
Yeah.
What's your policy on issuing doctor cards? There was none. What's your policy on social affairs? Who gets help and who doesn't?
So you guys were really the opposition, the voice.
So we pounded them. And we had the program Sound of the Shell. Every Friday morning, Vance and I, or sometimes Vance alone or I alone, would be on the program. And working with Vance, we were like 2 opposite, good cop and bad cop. But we also were completely opposite, because I would roam all day, from volleyball to baseball to this to that. And in the night, late, is when I would deal with school. In the night late, I would prepare, if we have a meeting, I would prepare for the meeting. Vance used to go to bed at 8 o'clock in the night. Vance would be snoring. And sometimes I call him on the phone 7:30, and we are talking. And all of a sudden,
fall asleep.
He fall asleep. So I got to hang up the phone and call again, because he had a system with more than 1 phone in the house. So it would ring on one of the other phones.
And he would wake up.
And then his wife would call him or anything like that. But Vance would wake up 4 o'clock in the morning to prepare for the morning program.
This morning program with the master.
Moment with the Master.
Moment with the Master,
that his brother is now doing. So the program started, I think, was at 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. But Vance would wake up 4 o'clock and prepare his day. And that was almost like when I would be going sleep to wake up 7 o'clock in the morning.
So it was really a yin and yang.
Yes. And in the Island Council, I was the attack dog. And that is why they called me the Pitbull. And Frankie Myers, who used to support the party at the time because of his brother Charlie Myers, Frankie Myers was my little protege. And Frankie used to introduce me on the stage, and he became known as the Junior Pitbull. So there's a lot of political history in...
I would have never known that.
In how things... Well, and how Frankie Myers left. It's because when his brother was not going to run a particular year, I said, well, let's run Frankie. Vance said, you think so? He's young. I said, Vance, we need to start including young people into the fold. And I was the one negotiating with the candidates, their positions on the list and whatnot. And I offered Frankie, I think it was number 9. In those days, you couldn't get more votes than number 3 and you could move up.
Yeah, no.
It was preferential votes.
Preferential votes, yeah.
So
numbers mattered.
So the number was 9, and Vance said, but isn't that high? I said, no, Vance, it is not high. Frankie has a lot of potentials, and he is one of us. He's a young man, and he's very much interested in the political arena. So when was it 9 I offered him, or no, I think it was. I think it was 6. Yeah, he accepted 6, but Vance was the decision maker. So when he went to Vance, when Vance now came to disclose the final makeup of the list, Vance announced that he was number 9 or 12. And when he went to his brother Tochi asked him, so what number they offered you? But Tochi was DP.
Yeah.
And he said, what number they offered you? And he told him, he said, no, let's go. I'm going to go talk to Joe and Renee. And he took him to Joe and Renee, and he said, listen, my brother's interested in running.
Yeah.
What number you going to give him? And they gave him the same number that Vance had offered him, and he ran with them.
He ran with them instead.
And that
bust loose.
That became where, you know, the Pitbull and the Junior Pitbull, you know, walked away from each other. But we always remained respectful and cordial with each other. And he and my son Onde have, you know, always best buddies. But Onde is good with everybody.
Oh, yes, he is. Okay, so what we're going to do is we close off this show. We have another part that we're going to tape right now so that we could get, because we need to get everything. Okay, so you can give us a couple more minutes, MP?
Let me...
Yeah, let me check. Okay, well, we'll be. Thank you so much for watching this part. Stay tuned for a second part of this wonderful interview with MP William Marlin, who has served the country as a civil servant for about 45 years.